overall feeling that I had felt through this travel was like I am at hometown. Of course, Korea is my home country, and Vietnam is in the same Asian culture area, so I'm sure that's why I felt that way. But still, except in the regions, the natural environment and the humanity made me feel that way enough. And the impression from the peoples I had met through this travel was that they are very pure, kind, warm, soft, and friendly. Not only hotel managers and tour guides, but also most of the local peoples in Ho Chi Minh City were very open-minded and easygoing. They were very generous and humble. And for communication with locals, tourism in Ho Chi Minh City has been developed very well, and quite of our destinations were famous spots for tourists. And of course, we also have our body languages, so there were not huge difficulties in communication with locals. I think the most foreign experience and the most familiar experience that I had through this travel might be a little different with other members. Because I was born in Korea and grown up there more than 25 years. And also Vietnam is not a country having very different cultural background. So honestly, LA and other cities in US are still a bit more unfamiliar and foreign to me. However, it was not only my first time on visiting Vietnam, but also my first chance of thinking about both cities, Seoul and Ho Chi Minh City together. They look very different, but they have a lot of similarities on history and culture. I will add a little bit more explanation on it with the word that I chose to describe both cities through the trailer video. The both cities had the ideological conflict between democracy and socialism, as you all know. And the both have grown up very fast in the past a few decades after the wars. So a lot of features and issues still exist together in ideological point of view and in physical environment point of view and also in their cultural point of view. The coexistence of one thing with another is the fact that they exist together at the same time or in the same place. So the one word came up in my mind to describe the both cities was coexistence, as you saw. First, in ideological point of view, both cities are where ideological confrontations happened. So they both have the tragedy of war and colonial history, and a lot of vestiges still exist together in the city today. Guju tunnels in Ho Chi Minh City was built during the war, and it became one of the famous tour destinations today. But the space still shows the trace of the ideological confrontation and tragedy. North and South Korea have been engaged in continual struggle over ideology since their division, and everybody were able to feel the tension between the two different ideologies when we visit DMZ. Second, in an architectural and physical environmental point of view, the both cities had their own culture so many years and have changed, grown up, and developed very rapidly as major cities. So there are still many monuments and historic buildings such as palaces, temples, and pagodas with their own styles. And also we were able to see the influences of the foreign style, which had been built during the colonial period. And last, not only in the ideological and physical point of views, but also in their cultural point of view, I was able to feel that both tendencies of keeping and preserving their own culture and styles, and accepting and developing new technologies and foreign cultures, also exist together through food, clothes, dwellings, pattern, and so on. So generally, both cities were quite complicated, crowded, and many different things exist together. One of the memorable scenes, or very amazing and impressive, their culture was through the Mekong Delta tour. Their traditional residential, built by wood all the way along the Mekong River sides, were still in very old and poor conditions, and looked to sink below in a minute by a flood. Family lives together in a few square meters house without complete indoor separations and cooling systems in very hot and humid climate all the year through. But they just looked very natural and happy, and those were just the plain and unburnished their daily lives. Those scenes were very different and special experience for me, and brought me quite a lot of thoughts, not only about the poor housing conditions, natural environment, and people's lives, which made us keep pressing our camera shutters. It might be a bit too further thoughts, but also about how carefully we should approach to some others' characteristics and originalities, which have been made for a long time to understand them, and to design others' own spaces as an architect. And one of my personal thoughts after I saw this Mekong Delta environment was this. Construction techniques has been very developed these days, so construction doesn't depend on climate and natural environment too much. So now it's not that hard to see the similarity and tendency of modern architectures everywhere all around the world. But at the same time, it gets a bit harder to find each different originalities of modern architectures in the world these days. No matter how poor or developed, I think the way that they has been made and established for a long time, and the way that they are now, have their own incomparable beauties. And it reminded me of how important to try to see, understand, and pay attention to their original environment, conditions, and their originalities before thinking about cool and unique design approaches as a designer.